All right, in the last video, I broke down the three problems causing the midlife movement crisis. So, movement atrophy, aging inflammation, and the weekend warrior trap. Today, you're going to learn the solution. So, how can you build strength, improve flexibility, lose that stubborn weight, and create a body that actually lasts with ancient movement disciplines? Now, this is part two of a four-part video series building up to Black Friday, and it's the biggest sale we do all year, and we're doing something really special or something we've never done before, so you definitely don't want to miss on that. All right, so here's where the solution comes from. See, my brother and I grew up in a small town in Texas called Greenville. It's pretty typical upbringing. We played sports, stayed active, but like most teenage guys who got into fitness, we were following the traditional path. So at one point, we were even taking these nasty weight gainers, you trying to get big, and because that was the thing, right? Then one summer, we stumbled across something on an internet forum that completely changed everything for us. And this was before, Facebook or social media, and it was parkour. These guys moving through their urban environments in France, climbing walls, leaping across buildings with such strength, control, and freedom. We'd never seen anything like it before. And they had these incredible physiques, but they weren't built by the gym. They were built through movement. So we got obsessed. And the first thing we actually did was try to jump off our roof. Our parents weren't too happy about that, but we started training this every day. And that really set us down the rabbit hole of studying ancient movement disciplines. And we discovered parkour was actually rooted in something much older. So a French military training method called method naturelle. It was developed by focusing on exercises for survival and also influenced on how indigenous tribes moved. It was all about building strength and mobility for real life application. So completely different than the typical gym workout we see today. And this system actually became the foundation for a lot of modern obstacle course races, functional fitness today. But the original method has largely been forgotten. So after this, we kept going deeper and started learning acrobatics, mastering other physical skills. Eventually, we became stunt performers in Hollywood, where we got to learn from world-class gymnasts, kung fu legends. We even traveled to China to train with monks. We spent years learning from masters in many different areas. And what was amazing is that many of them had maintained incredible physical capabilities even into their 60s and 70s. And we noticed something across the board with all of them. They weren't doing what you see in modern gyms. They weren't isolating muscle groups or doing max lifts, beating up their bodies. They were doing something fundamentally different. And see, when we started teaching parkour and these primal movement principles, many who came to us weren't 20-year-olds looking to do backflips. They were regular people in their 40s, 50s, even 60s, professionals, parents, former athletes. And the stories were pretty similar amongst all of them. They would say, I used to do a sport or lift, and then I got a bad knee, or my back got messed up, or I gained all this weight. So I want to try this stuff out, but maybe my body is too old or out of commission to get into this. But when we took them through the fundamentals and these movement patterns, the same ones that we'd learned from these ancient disciplines, and we had them start small and stay consistent, they were shocked at the changes they experienced. Their pain decreased, they got stronger without breaking down, they started losing fat, joint pains were going away, and most importantly, they felt capable again. So why did it work so well? Well, because it directly addresses all those problems we talked about in the last video. Remember, the first problem is that your body has adapted to a limited range of movement. From sitting and one-dimensional exercises, your nervous system has pruned away movement patterns that you don't use, and your fascia has stiffened in these positions you spend most of the time in. So you've lost important functional mobility and strength. See, these ancient disciplines focus on something most modern training misses, and that's movement diversity. Let me give you an example. So a bicep curl builds your bicep, and that's pretty much it. You'll get better at curling this movement, but it doesn't transfer much into anything else. Now, a squat is much better. It's a compound movement that works with your legs, core, and back, but it is still just in one plane of motion, the sagittal plane, up and down, forward and back. But a movement like crawling or a kung fu sequence, you're working in multiple directions, your shoulders, core, hips, and opposite limbs are coordinating together. You're rotating, you're stabilizing, you're building strength while moving through full ranges of motion. And here's what the research shows. Movement variability is one of the strongest predictors of long-term physical capability. The more diverse your movement vocabulary, the more resilient your body becomes. And these ancient disciplines hit what we call the fundamental movement categories. So number one is groundwork and transitions. So getting up and down from the floor, rolling, floor-based movement. Research shows that your ability to get up from the floor without using your hands is one of the strongest predictors of longevity. And this is something that kids do naturally, but most of us as adults, we completely lose. Number two, quadrupedal locomotion. So think crawling patterns, moving on all fours. This trains something called contralateral coordination, your opposite limbs working together. It builds strength through your shoulders, core, and hips all at once with very little impact on the joints. Number three is rotation and spiral power. So this is training your hips to create and control rotational force. Most gym exercises are purely forward and back, but real movement, throwing, reaching, turning, it requires this rotation. And this is one of the first capabilities you lose with age. Number four is multi-directional strength. So think pushing, pulling, and carrying, but at different angles and positions, not just one fixed plane. This builds strength that actually transfers to most things in real life instead of just making you good at one specific exercise. When you train these movements, you start to fix all of the problems that we discussed in the first video. So you fix that movement atrophy. You're teaching your nervous system patterns that it forgot. You're restoring ranges of motion that you lost. So you're not just getting stronger, you're getting more mobile at the same time. And this fixes problem number two, the aging inflammation. Because you're working your whole body in coordination, this creates enough demand to burn fat, build strength. Also because it's not heavy impact, you can recover between sessions. You stay consistent. Studies show that low impact, full body movement training significantly improves inflammation markers in people over 40. And then you fix problem number three, that weekend warrior trap. See, that third problem was going too hard, too fast at an age where your body can't bounce back like it used to, where that intense training backfires with things like injuries and burnout. See, this approach is different. You're building strength and burning fat in a way your body can actually handle and recover from. And this is what keeps people moving well as they age without breaking down or getting injured. See, we took what we learned from method natural, from martial arts, from yoga, from training with people who have maintained their bodies for decades, and we created a system specifically for the modern person dealing with modern problems. So someone who sits at a desk, who has old injuries, joint issues, doesn't have hours to spend at a gym, and wants to lose fat and build strength, but also wants to feel good and move well. See, we call this unlocking your primal body. And here's what happens when you start to train this way. In the first week or two, your energy improves, body feels more fresh, sleep gets a little better, and this makes sense. You're reducing inflammation, you're moving better, your body's stress response is calming down. By week 3 or 4, joint pain starts to decrease. You're moving in ways your body probably hasn't moved in years, and it's responding. Then after a month or so, you start noticing changes in how your clothes fit. That stubborn fat starts coming off, movement gets way better, and the body starts changing. The longer you stay consistent, the more it builds. So in the next video, I'm going to give you an actual routine. So something that you can do at home in just 5 to 10 minutes, zero equipment, and so you can really feel the difference for yourself. And then after you do it, I want to hear from you. I want to know how it feels after you've done that session using these types of movement. So make sure to click the link in the description and join the list to receive the next 3 videos of this series. I'll send it to you when it's available. That way you can get access to it. And I'll see you in the next video.